Sacred geometry is really important. We're only going to be able to touch it a little bit in a YouTube video, but it's definitely something that I want you to be able to touch on and get a sense of it and understand how important it is. It's definitely something you want to really implement into your work. To what extent, it depends on the genre in which you are working, but it's something that I do think about. I don't use it for every single project, but it's always in the back of my mind. So let's just go ahead and get into it. And I'm sort of a big nerd when it relates to this kind of stuff, because I think it's just so cool, and especially when you start to look back in history and you start to apply this and do your own investigation on other people's work. It's just kind of mind-blowing. So I'm a big fan of it. So hopefully by the end of the video you're going to see it as well, and we'll go from there. So let's dive in. Sacred geometry. This is another fun thing to look at. Something that can really bring some really focus and structure to your compositions and your design. It's been used forever, and so let's just talk about it. So you have the Fibonacci number sequence, right? So what it basically is every number after the first two is the sum of the two preceding: 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and so on. But I don't really focus on those numbers. I don't even think about that. Okay, so here you're looking at those sequences, and you can see how those numbers will work their way through and come into the center spiral. Okay, so we have the golden rectangle. How is this constructed? This is important because when we're looking at this, when we have a square, okay, and typically we're going to talk about this one right here, all right, root 2, all right. So if you have a square, and this is key, when you have that dotted line come from the top, it swings down. So it's from this pivot point. When this comes down naturally, that's going to be your point of division right here. That's what it is, right? We already have that division. It's here. Now this comes up and it goes across. That's what we see here, right? So now that's how you get to that essential square. Now any of these, if you take any shape that you have, any shape, and you draw a dotted line here and you swing it down, it's going to give you that other relationship. Now let's go ahead a little bit further and talk about it as it relates to the 1.618. Okay, so this is it. So we see the square, right? If we had this line running through here, it pivots down to here, and then we have the sequencing as it goes all the way around. Now, what this is, it's the same exact spiral, okay? But let me go back here for a second so you can see this. What you're now getting is the sequencing of this coming in here. So watch when I move forward. See? See where it's going to that center? See? And so basically when you see this, it's mirror flipped on the opposite side. And that's what we're getting here with these diagonals. Okay, so this is the same thing too, because now if you look, we have the square, right? So this is the square. And then it swung down. And then if we were to flip it in reverse, okay, this is the square on the opposite side, right? So that's basically what we're getting here. It's not rule of thirds per se. This is a little different. Okay, so this is just one more way of getting to that same sequencing. We're basically taking all the spirals out, and we're just looking at the rectangle shape as it keeps flipping on itself. So how could you look at this? So we know that this is going all the way across like this, right? But if you look at this piece here, this is another piece, right? And then it keeps doing it again. Then we have it here, and it keeps flipping, right? And so that's basically what you're having, is that consistency as it comes through. It creates, well, you'll see this in a lot of classical art. and also you'll see it in modern art, but especially in particular, the Greeks started this, and they were implementing this in their paintings as well as in their sculptures, architecture, everything. So here we have it broken down in circles. You can actually use these circles as a way to help create design as well. If you keep the circle relationship of this, and if I took the same circle, the exact same dimensions, and I put it over here, right? And then I took maybe another little small circle, you can design things based off of this sequencing, and it will have the golden rectangle sequencing to it. You'll see this a lot in logo design, graphic design. So when we have an image like this, okay, we look at it, it looks great, composition feels good, and then we start to look, and what do we have? Okay, so you'll see the spiral. Look at where that hand is running right along this line. See how this figure is right on this section, and the spiral comes right in and curls back in. I mean, it's pretty purposeful. Look at the diagonal of these figures. Look at that line, right? See this line coming here, right through the hand. Look at that chair, right through this section. I mean, look at the mirror in the back. It's on this center line, right? Where's this chair? On this line. So it's pretty crazy how far you can go with this. Now, do you have to do everything that technical? No, you do not. But it is a great way to help you find structure and how to place things, especially if you're someone who, you're not sure where should you align things up. This is a lot different than just only doing rule of thirds. Rule of thirds is fine and it works great, but this is starting to take it to a little bit more sophisticated level. Okay, so when we have an image like this, same thing, right? Look at that line. It's running right through head to head, right? This tree is running through that third, even though it's not perfect third, but it's on that third line, right? Look at this line. It comes in. Look at the elbow. Look where the hand is at, right? And the fact that they use, the leg, everything is on this alignment. And the fact that they posed a figure and got them in position so that they can fall in that dynamic symmetry is pretty remarkable. Right? And then, and right now, I'm not talking about leading lines either. There are tons of leading lines in this image too. I'm just showing you how things are being placed right now in this golden rectangle, the golden spiral, right? Pretty remarkable. Okay, so we touched on it. We touched a little bit on the mathematical equations, but really more importantly than the mathematical equation of the sequence, the Fibonacci sequence, is we really want to think more about how we use it to make compositional design choices. I don't want people to feel like they're locked in on it 100%, where you have to adhere to it, because sometimes that can stifle your work. But it is definitely something that's going to be sort of the underpinning of the design. So I want you to make sure that you're always focusing on that, okay? Well, till next time. I should also say, hey, if you liked the video, hit subscribe, hit the notification. Until next time, boom, we're out. Let's go.